Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video we are continuing our 12 Days of Christmas series for December. This series I'm going to have 12 videos coming out to you back to back to back. This will complete my holiday series for this year, and I hope you stick with me through it all. Today's video we are going to be using some colored and layering tags to create kind of a negative die cut word. So I'll kind of explain that a little better as we go. So here I have some nesting tags. One thing to note, you can use any tags that you have in your stash, but one thing to note is to make sure, if you do this particular method, that your tags are symmetrical. I'm going to discover as I go along that these tags are not. So I will show you how I kind of work around that later. So I have some colored cardstock and some white cardstock. This is all from Paper Studio. This is all about 80 pound-ish. It's not super heavyweight, but it's heavyweight enough. And that is just a layering tag set that I have in my stash. I'm not sure who it's from, but any layering tag set will work. I have some scripty word dies here from, I think these are from Holtz. I'm not entirely sure. I've had these forever in my stash, but any Christmas sentiment or any sentiment really would work for this. I'm just choosing to use this because they're all one word. They're all connected. I won't have like individual layers that I have to, or excuse me, individual letters that I'd have to cut out. These are all connected. I did toy with the idea of using my Cricut for this, but I don't really have a good way to show you my computer screen and my Cricut and all of that stuff. I don't really have a good way to show you that, so I chose to use my dies that I have, and I haven't used these dies in quite some time, so it was good to get these back out. So I'm going to take the colored tag, and this is smaller than the white tags. It's just 1 or 2 layers down. And I took just 6 words. I'm going to make 6 tags. And instead of having to go back and cut out, the words multiple times, I could have run all of these through my big Spellbinders Platinum all at once and saved myself some time, but I wasn't thinking. So I took my little die cutter, my little Sizzix Sidekick, and die cut them out. I just taped them in place, centered them as best I could by eyeballing it, and then ran them through my little die cut machine, holding them in place with some low tack tape. This is Alta New purple satin masking tape. I'm going to go ahead and pop out using my little craft pick here. I'm going to pop out the word. You can save this word for another project. I ended up just putting it back into my stamp pocket. You could absolutely use that for a different project later on, but I am actually using that piece that's down on my desk right now. I am keeping all of those negative pieces. I am going to end up putting those back into the die just so that it has a more complete and finished professional look. There are times where leaving those out looks nice and has a certain look to it, but with this scripty font, it really needed to have those negative pieces back in there, and so I did save those, and we'll put those back in. I'm going to continue just running each of these dies through my little die cut machine, and then we can move on to the next step. So I have all of them die cut. I put all of the extra pieces into my stamp pocket, all of the actual words. And I'm going to apply liquid glue to the back of this color die tag. Oh my word. Onto the back of this colored tag die. Wow. It's early, y'all. And I'm going to just glue that down flat. I did, again, toy with the idea of popping this up on foam tape, layering more like scrap die cuts behind it. I figured that would take too much time, and like I've mentioned in previous videos, my whole philosophy with tags is that they are more than likely going to be chucked and tossed in the trash after the package is opened. And so to spend a whole lot of time on a tag like this doesn't really make a lot of sense. And adding a whole bunch of die cuts and that kind of stuff behind it doesn't really make much sense. So I chose to just go ahead and glue these down flat, but you could absolutely, if you know that this person is going to keep this tag, spend a little more time on it, pop it up with some dimension, that kind of thing. So all I've done is taken my little pickup stick here and embellishment wand, and I use some liquid glue, and I'm just gluing those negative pieces back into the die. That really does finish it off, gives it a more complete look, and makes it look a little more professional. You don't have to do that, particularly if you were using like a block font. Like I've said, it doesn't necessarily need to have those pieces put back in. It gives it just a different look. So I was looking at these tags and I was like, man, they look kind of plain. They look like I didn't want to spend time on them. And I didn't want that. So I chose to add a little bit of sparkle. I have some glitter spray in a mini mister, and I just sprayed each of these tags. I was about 2 feet up when I sprayed each of these tags just to give them a fine glittery finish. And I was still looking at them. I was like, man, these still look kind of plain, but I'm not sure what I want to do with them. So I chose to go ahead and stamp the back of my tags. I'm going to use my VERSAFINE Onyx Black ink, and I think this is from the Altenew. I'm not sure which stamp set this is from, but I will list it below if I know where it's from. But I'm just going to take my VERSAFINE ink and stamp the back of each of these tags and the two in the from. You could have chosen ink colors that matched each particular tag, but again, I was going for speed here. So we are very quickly going to discover that these tags are not symmetrical. So again, when you do this project, if you want to have a very nice finished tag on the back, and I also layer these up just to give them a little bit more sturdiness, because these tags, this cardstock is not a super heavyweight. You wouldn't necessarily have to worry about it being symmetrical on each side, but I wanted to give these more sturdiness, and I wanted to have a nice finish on the back. And here I'm like, this is not lining up. So here's how we're going to fix it. I'm going to take my paper trimmer and I'm going to trim this tag down so that it fits. The angles, like the angled cuts on this tag, all I'm going to do for those is just kind of eyeball it with some scissors. Are they perfect? No. Are they going to get the job done? Yes. Is this handmade? Absolutely. Does it look unprofessional? Not at all. So this is just one way that if you're going along and you discover, this is not symmetrical, and I thought it was, this is how you can somewhat quickly and easily fix it. So just take it to your paper trimmer, cut it down to where it nestles and fits somewhat easily on the back. See how I'm going to kind of maneuver that around and see if we can't get that to fit a little better. And I do end up kind of trimming some things off as I go, and I just individually line up each tag through my paper trimmer and try to layer those on. And then I will glue these also down flat to the back of the card with some liquid glue. Once I've done that, I have some gold 1/8 inch ribbon here. I got this at Hobby Lobby when all of their ribbon and stuff was 40% off. And I am going to take, this is about, I don't know, 8 inches wide, 8 inches long. And I'm going to just tie some bows here. I tried to tie them on the spool. For some reason that wasn't working, probably because the camera was rolling. But I'm just going to take about an 8-inch so length of this ribbon here and tie some little tiny bows. And I'm going to glue those onto the front of these tags. Before I do that, I'm going to take about a 10-inch length and I'm going to form a loop. I'm going to take that looped end, put it through the front of the tag, open up that loop, and take the loose ends and pull those through and attach some ribbon to the top of these tags that way. But as you can see, there's that little dot on this smaller tag, and I thought that looked kind of weird. So that's where this little gold ribbon that I tied into bows is going to come into place. I'm just going to use some liquid glue to glue those little gold bows right there. And that just hides that little spot right there where the hole for the colored tag is. And it brought in another color, which is something else that I was wanting to do. So, like I said, I was looking at these tags and I was like, man, they still look really like plain. They don't look bad, they just look very plain. So I went back and forth for a long time. I was going to put pearls in there. I was going to put white pearls. I was going to put glitter. And I just settled on some Nuvo drops. So these are, I believe these are Nuvo drops in bright gold. And I'm just going to add dots all around these words. And then I'm going to tap them on the back of the bottle. You can tap them on your desk or wherever, just to kind of help them level a little bit. These are supposed to have a leveler in them, but if it's particularly hot, if it's particularly cold or they're really thick and kind of getting old, sometimes they don't level as well and they need some help. So tapping them on your work surface will kind of get them a domed shape instead of like a peak. And I'm just going to go through and apply these dots all over each and every one of these tags. And then that is all of the tags complete. I thought that the gold Nuvo drops was a good finishing touch. It gave it some more interest without adding a whole lot of bulk. This is the back of the tag, so showing you just kind of how I trim things down just to make them work. I'm trying to be extra careful not to smudge anything because those are still wet. But anyway, that is it. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I hope that you feel inspired. And if there are any videos that you've missed in my series before, I hope you'll go back and check them out. Until then, we will see you next time, and happy crafting. Bye.